So, I wanted to share why I think that art, all forms of art, is magic or is a form of magic. So, in my opinion, magic at a base level, and this is not the only definition, this is a flawed definition, and this is just my personal definition. Magic is taking something, one way to put it is that it is connecting with your own subconscious, with the hidden pieces of yourself and or of your universe, connecting with something hidden and bringing that hidden thing into being not hidden and into being shown. So occult, which I think actually that word comes from something meaning hidden or like to hide or something like that. I could be wrong on that, don't quote me on that. But you take something hidden from either yourself or the universe and you show it. That's what I think magic is, kind of, like at a very basic level. And that's a flawed definition, but that's my personal definition. And when you are making art, the reason I think there's a significant overlap between artists and mages, and I consider myself both personally, is because when I do art, I am taking something from within myself, something hidden. I'm connecting with something beyond myself, whether that be my own subconscious or a universal subconscious, or if not subconscious, then inner light and external light. Either one, I am drawing something from beyond myself or from within myself and showing it, displaying it, and using it as a form of expression. Something that is more than the sum of its pieces. Something that comes from either within or without, that is displayed in a way that symbolically is understood and imaginatively is understood, but is also emotionally understood. And there's this overlap, this gray area between consciousness, psychology, and fantasy, art, the occult. There's this overlap, gray area, and I think when we do things like create, we're in that gray area. So I think to be an artist is to be a mage. I think they kind of are the same thing in a way, but for me, as someone who does both, I think it is one way I see my art is as a form of magic, because I'm creating something. When I do art, I'm creating something that formerly wasn't there. Like I'm taking from other things, but combining it in a way using both my subconscious and other things, and it's taking the pieces of myself and displaying it. So I think art is a form of magic, and I think not only visual art, music, acting, anything where you're building and creating is a form of magic. And I also conversely think that destruction is also a form of magic. When you are destroying things, warfare is a form of evil magic. Death is neutral magic. It's complicated, but like there's anything that exists. Language, speech is magic, because you're taking symbols and you're taking abstract things and assigning it to a sound that is understood by others. So language is magic. Writing is magic, because for most human history, people were illiterate. They couldn't read or write. It was only the monks or like people, at least in European history, it was usually people who were in the church who could read and write, and it was considered like you would be a part of in order to read and write. Taking something abstract, assigning it to a sound, and then being able to speak that sound and have it be understood, combining the subconscious of symbolism and the imaginative part of prescribing these symbols to that sound and creating something new, creating a language and writing, seeing that language written and then being able to recall it, or telling stories. All of these things are magic, because magic is creation. Creation is magic, destruction is magic, and there's other forms as well, but as a chaos mage myself, that's how I see it. That's how I see art, is that art is magic. But not only art, I think everything is interconnected, and that when you are creating something, you are making something beyond yourself. And it doesn't matter what you're creating, you can create anything, even if it's something like really just dumb and silly. I still think that is a form of magic. I think any form of self-expression, creative expression, is magic. And I think that when you learn about yourself and your inner world, and no one understands consciousness. Anyone who says they understand consciousness is trying to sell you something or use you. I don't understand consciousness. I barely have a pebble in an ocean of understanding of my own consciousness. I've scratched not even the surface with my own work. But when you begin to learn about your own mind, your own psychology on a personal level, I think that is also magic. When you learn about yourself and are able to use that to your advantage to build things and draw things to you, that is magic. And at a certain point in my journey, it stopped just being from within, because for a long time it was. And some spirits, I'm comfortable saying this, are hallucinations, if not all of them. But here's the thing, though, is that some are coming from within you and are representative of parts of yourself, and some are representative of parts of your universe or parts of your world. So when you're interacting with something beyond yourself, it's like a reflection of whatever it is coming back into you, speaking to you in a way you understand. But I think these things are literally what they represent, as much as they are what we make them out to be, and what we focus on focuses on us, and the energy we put out is kind of the energy we get back, but not in the way of like, this is really gross. I feel like there's this perversion of the occult, this like pop occult thing that is happening, this very, buy a bunch of crystals, and you have to do it this way, and you just didn't have enough faith, that's why you didn't manifest this, and all of this really gross stuff, when no, that is just trying to make money off of people and use their desperation. And it's not about the tools, it's not about the methods, it's about your own associations. If you can't do it without the tools, then it doesn't matter what tools you have. If you don't understand the fundamentals of what it is you are building, of the intention you are putting in towards this thing, of what you are doing, then the tools don't make the artist makes the art, right? You create what is going on, but you can have all the money, all the tools, all the crystals, all the whatever. If you don't understand the symbolism, what it actually means to you, you're not going to move past a very, I would say, novice level understanding of any of these things. And, perhaps it's a bit hypocritical, considering I myself am very novice. I've only been doing this crap for maybe at most 2.5 years or so. But I can say that with my own studies, I think it's a lot more important to focus on the journey and experience itself, rather than the results. And when I make art, that is magic to me. That's a way of reflecting the inner pieces of myself back into the world in a way other people can connect with and understand. And one of my favorite quotes that I heard recently that I love, is, good art disturbs the comfortable and comforts the disturbed. And I feel like, yeah, that's kind of like what my art does, is it's disturbing, it's raw, it's gripping, but it gets you thinking. And for me, it's a source of comfort, it's a source of alleviation, it's a source of processing, it's a need, it's an addiction. I have to create. But it's also magical. It is deeply magical for me. And one of my favorite, there's someone I know who drew a picture describing what it is to them to be an artist and to create and tell stories, and it was just shockingly beautiful. And I can't even describe it, I can't show it, but they just shared it with me privately, and for sake of anonymousness, I'll just say that it gripped me and touched me, and there is absolutely an overlap between art and the occult world, magic. And I think that they are more deeply interconnected than people realize. And I think the act of creation in and of itself is magic. As well, yeah, so anyway, that's what I wanted to say on that.